All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dig into one of the most critical, but also one of the most invisible parts of any building you see, its foundation. It's really the unsung hero that holds the whole thing up, and the way it's designed is this incredible mix of science, detective work, and some serious engineering. So yeah, let's dig in. So let's just start with this massive question, right? What in the world keeps a billion-dollar skyscraper from just sinking into the ground? Well, it's not magic, and it is definitely not guesswork. The answer is all in a super meticulous, step-by-step planning process that happens way, way before a single shovel ever touches the dirt. The whole thing really kicks off with what's basically a detective story. Before you can even think about building on the ground, you have to understand what's in the ground. So engineers, they become investigators. And the plot of land, that's their crime scene. So our engineering detectives, they start with three absolutely crucial questions. First, what are we actually building on? Second, just how heavy is this thing we're about to build? And finally, what else is going on in the environment right around it? If you get any one of these wrong, believe me, the entire project could be in trouble from day one. This investigation goes surprisingly deep, literally. Engineers will take these core samples to figure out the soil type. Are we talking about soft clay, shifting sand, or solid bedrock? Then they test its bearing capacity, which is just a fancy way of asking how much weight can this ground actually take before it fails. They even check for groundwater because, believe it or not, water can completely change how stable the land is. Okay, next up is the load. And the easiest way to think about it is like this. The dead load is the building's own permanent weight. All the concrete, the steel, the glass, that's never going to change. But the live load, that's all the temporary stuff. The people walking around, all the furniture, even the weight of a heavy snowstorm on the roof. The foundation has to be designed to handle the absolute maximum possible weight, combining both of those loads together. And it's not just about the patch of dirt right underneath the building. You have to ask, is the land on a steep slope? Is it sitting in a flood zone? Are there other buildings right next door whose foundations you might mess with? You even have to think about simple stuff like, can you physically get heavy construction equipment to the site? It just goes to show a foundation doesn't exist in a bubble. Okay, so our detectives have gathered all their clues. They've got the soil report, they've done the load calculations, and they've checked out the site conditions. Now comes the big one, the single most important decision in this whole process, choosing the right type of foundation. And it all boils down to one simple choice at first. Do we go shallow or do we go deep? The logic here is actually beautiful in its simplicity. If you have really good, strong, stable soil right near the surface, great, you can use a shallow foundation. But if that surface soil is weak or kind of mushy, or if the building you're putting up is just insanely heavy, you've got no choice. You have to dig down deep to find solid ground. So let's break down the specific tools for the job. A strip foundation, think of that like a continuous concrete ribbon that runs under all the main walls, perfect for most houses. Then you've got a pad foundation, which is like giving each individual support column its own concrete shoe to stand on. Now, if the soil is weak, you might go with a raft foundation. This is cool. It's like putting the entire building on one giant concrete boat that helps it float on the weak ground by spreading the load out evenly. And finally, when the ground is just really, really bad, you bring in the heavy hitter, a pile foundation. This means driving these massive pillars, basically stilts, deep, deep into the earth until they hit solid bedrock. So, the choice has been made. The engineers have their design, but we are not done yet, not even close. Now that beautiful blueprint has to face the harsh realities of the real world before it can get that final green light. And this is really where theory smacks into practice. I mean, you might have the most perfect design on paper, but can you actually afford it? Can you even get your hands on the right kind of steel and cement? And then you have to think about the environment. Is this an area that gets earthquakes or high winds? The foundation has to account for all those forces. It can't just be strong, it has to be resilient and, practical. And at last, we reach the climax of the whole design phase. A structural engineer, the ultimate authority on the project's safety, goes over every single calculation, every line on the drawings. This really is the moment of truth. Once they give their official approval, that plan is locked in, and the project is finally ready to go from paper to reality. So if you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this simple formula. A great foundation is a perfect balance of these 5 things. You have to understand the soil, you have to calculate the load, you have to respect the site conditions, you got to manage the cost, and above everything else, you must guarantee safety. And that right there brings us to the end of the design process. The plan is perfect, the numbers are double-checked, the approval is signed. But this is just the blueprint for success. The real question, the next big question is, what happens when the first excavators roll up and this carefully crafted theory finally meets the messy, unpredictable reality of a construction site?